What's going on YouTube? So I'm gonna share some thoughts once again. Um, Me and my vocalized pauses, like what I used to learn when I was being taught way back in the days. Vocalized pauses, the ums, the whatevers. So it's time to flow. It's time to flow like water. It's time to flow in the space called crypto. Rock the golden glow like so glow. All right, check this out. You know what I mean? Back in 2017, man, I keep bringing up this 2017, 17. I'm making up words. 2017. Okay, 2017 was a very interesting year in crypto. Bull run, thanks to the likes of BTC, and altcoins were also making a tear. And your good old boy BCC ran up to number 6 on CoinMarketCap with I think it was 2.1 or 2.2 billion dollars market cap. Good old BitConnect. Then Dash got salty and did some behind the scenes flim flam with CoinMarketCap to drop BitConnect down. So where BitConnect was no longer identified as a $2.2 billion uh, project, it was dropped down to like half a billion. So it dropped all the way down the list because no one could. I mean, how could this company out of nowhere, seemingly originating from Asia, just climb so fast to the charts in less than a year's time, right? BitConnect was making a tear. So this was my first. I'm gonna just talk about my experience with uh, BitConnect and promotion shadiness. This is part of where my displeasure for bad practices in marketing comes from. You know, this was the beginning taste because I was following crypto for a few years, but 2017 was a special year for me personally, right? In crypto. So BitConnect had its thing going on. I remember I helped a YouTuber who's no longer making videos anymore. I'm not gonna really put his business out there because he's since shut down his channel. Um, he was growing. His following was definitely he was building his channel, and he built it from the ground up. And I saw his development. I saw his growth. I saw um, his success. And during his initial stages, the beginning when he was building his channel, him and I were conversing behind the scenes because I reached out to him because I liked his content, and back then I was also making videos, and we enjoyed each other's content, and we subbed to each other's channels. Excuse me. Excuse me. Um, we subbed to each other's channels, and I ended up helping him with the intro to every time he spoke about BitConnect. I did I helped him in his intro with the song, right? Created a 15-second rhyme for him on his channel, and his channel started progressing, continue. It was bubbling. Of course, because Big Connect was gaining a lot of fame and notoriety and attention. At one point, the promoter asked me if I wanted to be a part of his radio show. Oh, not a radio show. I'm dating myself. A podcast. Him and a few other promoters who were pushing Big Connect decided behind the scenes to create uh, a podcast, and I was invited to be a part of that podcast. But behind the scenes, I asked him, well, if we are putting, because this was my approach. I asked the gentleman behind the scenes, if we're putting this effort into creating a podcast, we're taking time out of our lives. We already are content creators, but if we're taking time out of our lives to create this podcast, how will we be compensated? Because it's just, what is this for? Because at the time, remember, for those who don't know, Big Connect was like making it rain on everything for nothing, giving out Lamborghinis, Lambos. I mean, they were just having conferences. They were flying people out. If you amass a certain level in that pyramid structure, your flight to Thailand and their annual conference was fully paid. Like your tickets were paid, your accommodations were made, and they had conferences throughout Asia at the time and offices. I mean, I think in Indonesia, I believe in Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand. It just, these guys they were just doing something next level. Next level, man. I mean, these guys were just, no one could understand it. It was just completely bizarre. So, in other words, I figured, well, the crypto is there. You can't say that they don't have the funds to compensate people who are involved in the project, or involved in creating a podcast in addition to the work that was being put in by way of marketing the project and creating downlines and talking about the coin and having these loans locked up in the 299 day and down to the 120 day loan program. It was 4 phases and stuff, all this crazy stuff. I mean, you're already grinding if you're a content creator, pushing the word out. On top of that, you're going to do a podcast on some extra stuff. How where's the bread? Give up some bread. And it was quiet. Like, I never heard anything. We continued to talk about it, and behind the scenes in the behind the scenes messaging each other, and I was the only person who was bringing up how are we getting compensated, and no one was saying, not even the person who invited me to be a part of that podcast would respond telling me this is what's happening, yay or nay. They never said, nah, Wonder, there's Big Connect is not going to pay, or Big Connect will pay, and this is how much it will be. None of that was discussed. None of that was even. I mean, my response, my questions were never answered, and I immediately bowed out of that podcast. I wanted nothing to do with it. Come to find out that the guy whose idea, who I helped with his intro on his channel, who I did the rhymes for, he of course did very well and became recognized. They had Big Connect had this thing where they would recognize the larger types of promoters for their work, the views that they've amassed and their downlines and all this stuff. So Big Connect would actually give awards from Thailand to these people, and this gentleman was also, recognized. And he got to a point where he felt so comfortable with BitConnect that he gave up he gave up his job, his regular occupation. He gave it up because he thought he would excel in the BitConnect paradigm. Behind the scenes, there was friction going on with the whole promoting structure. This is why I say promotion killed that platform too. Sure, there was some crazy, who knows what was going on with the devs and all this other stuff with these fictitious or anonymous characters, or the faces, the people who are out there, whatever, from Asia or whatever. But the promoters also have were accountable, in my opinion, because if you were a certain level in the promotion scheme, in the pyramid scheme, BitConnect just threw money at you to do whatever it was that you thought you could do to help expand or build your downline and help people know. I mean, we're talking crazy numbers, amount of crypto, amount of bread, amount of money, amount of fiat, So it just it really helped open my eyes early on to the shady practices in crypto dealing with marketing and promotion. Dealing with marketing and promotion, because these same individuals who also documented their efforts on YouTube would show their dashboard, would show the accounts that they had in BitConnect and show how much they were earning. They would also make the mistake at some point to show so much information that you would see that BitConnect threw extras. And what I mean by extras, they threw them bonuses. Only to specific promoters, though. Like sizable bonuses. So people, it was just, you could see the handwriting on the wall. You could see, and this was like, this, I could say this was, when I noticed this taking place was around, I would say the fall of 17, maybe early September leading into October, right before they had their annual Thailand conference, that fiasco that took place. It wasn't a fiasco at the time, but you swear they were doing like it was the Grammys or something, the Oscar. Everyone knows Carlos Matos is become the iconic meme master with the whole thing. What they did with him, with him on stage. So I'm talking about that event. So the whole promotion thing put a bad taste. Like they just left a weird experience, because, and then come to find out, the podcast only lasted. They only had like maybe 2 or 3 shows. It was a once a week kind of thing, primarily on the weekends. One day out of the weekend, and talk for like 3 or 4 hours. It only lasted maybe 3 weeks, or not 3 weeks. I would say 3 shows, and then it fizzled out because I don't know. It was behind the scenes. There was infighting taking place. You could tell, because I still remain kind of connected or in tune with the gentlemen who were involved with the group. I didn't burn my bridges, in a sense. It was nothing against them. I just asked a question that they were never able to answer, which was, how much we getting compensated for this? And nothing was ever told. I said, forget it then. But I still remain in contact, and I could see from the messages back and forth as a group, the guys were becoming a bit contentious towards each other about the project, because maybe there was some kind of favoritism taking place or just shady stuff. So after a while, the show stopped. And then the conference came and it ended. Then you have December when Bitcoin went up at at its highest peak, 19,900, et cetera, et cetera. And the following month, January, was D-Day. Everything changed. But I what I'm saying is I'm going to go again with the whole promotion thing. It was another gentleman who was trying to be a part of that podcast who decided not to be because he requested compensation for himself. He didn't get compensated to be a part of that Big Connect podcast. And he would also document his efforts and speak about projects that he was on. He mentioned that Devore reached out to him, a Big Connect clone, if you will. Devore reached out to him and tried to send him 10,000 Devore coins, pre-ICO. Excuse me. Devore tried to send him 10,000 Devore coins. And he said he wanted nothing to do with it because of the whole, he was getting tired of the lending thing, and it was just becoming overwhelming because you got to remember, for those who don't know, at the end of 2017, this thing hit a peak of levels that people did not expect. Regal Coin had already come out, and people made a killing on Regal Coin. The whole binary crazy stuff, 2 legs in a pyramid, and so coins were coming out, Western Coin. But Devore reached out to this gentleman. He said that they tried to give him 10,000 coins. Now, the crazy thing about why people made a killing in the ICO stage, because when Devore came out, he mentioned, and it's true, Devore reached about $180. And it was easy. It was easy back then to see numbers like that. Imagine 10,000 times 180. The man would have been sitting on millions of dollars worth of fiat in crypto. And that's not a fib. That's not a fake story. I'm saying, like, those numbers back then were real. It was that insane. It was that insane. It was crazy back then. Ridiculous. 10,000 coins worth nothing that shot up to $180 per coin. What's that? 1.8 mil. If he would have sold at the top, just like that. But then he said that he didn't take their promotion because they wanted to pay him to promote their ICO, to promote Devore. Instead, he just did it a different way where he bought the coins cheap and made $20K from earnings or whatever. And this is the thing too. This is why I don't understand people. But maybe it's not for me to understand. Do you show your bank accounts? For people who have monies in banks and whatever vehicles, saving products, saving instruments that you use in your day-to-day life outside of crypto, do you brandish that information on YouTube, on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc.? And for some reason in crypto, people just don't see a problem with, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm old school, but I never understood how people could show their wallets, their virtual currency wallets, and show the amounts that they're holding in their wallets. It's akin to showing your other information. Why don't you show, everything else? Your savings, your checking account. Why don't you show the world on YouTube what you got going on? That's just this. I never understood that. Never understood that. I get it because when people see it, they could see that you probably are legitimately trying to convince individuals to believe in what you're saying, because you're showing them the proof, quote unquote, but it still can't be trusted. And on top of that, you become a target. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Maybe I don't, maybe I'm missing something. I tried to do a live yesterday, but I mean, I did a couple lives, but it didn't come out the way I envisioned or wanted them to come out. But I digress. So that's part of why even today I see promoters. It's how you get reeled in. People show their dashboards and the accounts and the types of gains that they're making, and other people want to do the same thing too, and that's how people get reeled in. But in many cases, projects have exit scam, leaving people to wonder, wow, what's going on. So that was just the point I was trying to share, as far as why I it's not the I think it's about responsibility, and it's true. If a person, we all have a decision. We could make our own decisions and do whatever we want in crypto. You could do whatever you want. But me personally, I prefer to err on the side of caution and do things in a way where I'm not harming myself and I'm not harming people around me. And definitely not giving a message out there to the world so others who are watching this video can get harmed too. That's just not cool. I don't stand for that. I simply don't. I simply don't. It's a hustle. The crypto hustle, baby. It's a hustle. Hustle and flow, like the movie. It's a hustle. But I'm telling the viewers, do your due diligence as best as you can so you don't get hustled.